Welcome to 10 Minute AI. I'm Dr. Jonathan Luckett. Together, we'll unpack big ideas in AI, one quick bite at a time.
Have you felt it? You know, that weird feeling that the internet just isn't what it used to be? It feels stranger, less helpful, and honestly, a lot less human. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to dig in and investigate what is really going on. We're going to follow the evidence and see if we can turn that gut feeling into cold, hard fact. And, you know, this quote from Felix Nolan just hits the nail on the head. The whole soul of the old internet, the magic of it, was human intention. Every weird little website, every passionate forum post, a person made it for a reason. But that core idea, it's being washed away, and that's changing absolutely everything. Okay, so to even wrap our heads around this new internet, we've got to learn the lingo. There's this whole new vocabulary that's popped up to describe the bizarre stuff we're all starting to notice online.
First up, we've got a word you might be hearing a lot: slop. And this isn't your grandma's spam mail. No, this is different. It's this flood of low-quality, completely nonsensical AI-generated content. You've probably seen it. Those bizarre images on Facebook of, like, shrimp Jesus, or news sites that accidentally publish articles with lists of books that literally don't exist. This stuff isn't made for people to enjoy. It's made to cheat the algorithm and make a quick buck.
Then there's rage bait. I think we all know this one. It's a pretty straightforward form of emotional manipulation. It's content that is specifically, deliberately engineered to make you furious, because nothing gets clicks and comments like a good old-fashioned dose of outrage. The goal isn't to have a real conversation, it's just to cash in on your anger. And rounding out our list is parasocial. Now, this term has actually been around forever, since 1956 to be exact. It used to describe that one-sided connection you might feel with a movie star. But today, oh boy, it's gotten a whole lot weirder. People are now forming these really intense one-sided relationships with AI chatbots, looking to them for everything from therapy and friendship to, yeah, even romance. So okay, we have the words to describe what's going on. Slop, rage bait, these weird AI relationships. It all feels off. But is this just a vibe? A collection of strange stories? Or is there actual, measurable proof that the internet itself has fundamentally changed? All right, now we're moving from how it feels to what the data says. And brace yourself, because the numbers reveal something pretty staggering about who, or rather what, is actually online with us.
And here it is. This is the big one. According to the 2025 Imperva Bad Bot report, we've hit a critical tipping point. For the first time in over a decade, automated traffic, bots, has officially surpassed human traffic. Let that sink in. We, the humans, are now the minority on the internet.
But it gets worse. A huge chunk of that bot traffic, 37% of all internet traffic, comes from what they call bad bots. And we're not talking about the helpful little bots that index Google. No, these are the ones built for stealing your data, taking over your accounts, and spreading spam. And that number has been climbing for 6 straight years. So the situation is this. We've got a crime scene that's just littered with slop and rage bait. And we now know that the majority of traffic is non-human. This begs the massive question, what does it all mean? Well, there's a theory out there that tries to connect all these dots. And that brings us to our prime suspect in this investigation, a pretty controversial idea that's been gaining a lot of steam, known as the dead internet theory. Now, I know what you're thinking. Conspiracy theory, right? And yeah, that's exactly how it started. But here's the thing about a good conspiracy theory. It's usually built around a kernel of truth. And while the part about some grand plot to control everyone is pure speculation, its main observation that the internet is being hollowed out and filled up with bots and AI content, well, that's backed up by the very data we just looked at. It gives a name to that feeling that the web has become this empty stage, just a performance put on by algorithms for other algorithms. Okay, so if the internet is dying, or at least changing into something else entirely, we have to ask the classic detective questions. What's the method and what's the motive? What are the technical and financial engines driving all this? The method, the technical side of it, has a name: model collapse. And it's a fascinating and, frankly, deeply worrying problem. It's what happens when AI stops learning from real data made by humans and starts learning from other AI-generated content. Basically, it starts to forget what reality actually looks like. This visual here explains it perfectly. The best analogy is making a photocopy of a photocopy. You know how that works, right? The first copy looks pretty sharp, but then you copy the copy and it gets a little fuzzy. Then you copy that one and the mistakes start to multiply until you're left with this distorted, blurry mess that barely looks like the original. That is exactly what is happening to AI models that are trained on an internet polluted with their own creations. And here's a real example from a research paper on this. Take a look at the text from Generation 0 on the left. It was trained on real human data. It's coherent, it makes sense. Now look at the right, Generation 1. This was trained on the output of that first model. It immediately starts hallucinating, mixing up cathedrals and popes and just making things up. Its grip on reality starts to slip almost instantly. So if the method is this weird model collapse, what's the motive? Well, sadly, it's pretty simple. It's all about money and power. You've got engagement farmers using AI Slop to trick social media into showing their garbage to millions just to rake in ad money. You've got scammers using it to sell products that don't exist. And of course, you have political groups and even governments using it for propaganda, all to erode our trust in everything. And this brings us to the most important part of this whole investigation, the fallout. In an online world that's been poisoned by AI slop and is run by malicious bots, what on earth happens to our shared sense of reality? And maybe more importantly, how do we even begin to defend ourselves? So to understand the real danger here, you have to know about this little quirk of the human brain called the illusory truth effect. It's a cognitive bias where basically the more times we hear something, the more likely we are to believe it's true, even if we know it's not. Just through pure repetition, a lie can start to feel like a fact. And this is where things get truly scary. Social media algorithms are basically perfect engines for exploiting this exact weakness in our brains. Get this, in the first quarter of 2025, more than a third of the content people saw on their Facebook feeds came from accounts they didn't even follow. The platforms themselves are pushing this algorithmically chosen and often AI-generated content at us, creating these perfect automated echo chambers where lies can be repeated until they feel true. So what can we do? We can't just give up. This is where basic digital literacy becomes a critical act of self-defense. And one of the best tools out there is a simple framework called the SIFT method. It's 4 easy steps. First, just stop. Before you get angry, before you share, just pause. Take a breath. Second, identify the source. Who's telling you this? Why are they telling you this? Third, find better coverage. See what other, more reliable sources are saying. And finally, trace the claim or the photo back to its original context. See the whole picture. And that really leaves us with this final, massive question. As the line between human and AI, between real and fake, gets blurrier and blurrier every single day, the challenge isn't just about spotting one fake image anymore. It's about totally rethinking how we prove something is real, how we establish trust, in a world where seeing is no longer believing. What's our new standard for truth? That's the question we all need to start asking ourselves.
That's today's 10-Minute AI. I'm Dr. Jonathan Luckett. See you next time for another fast take on the feature.